Social media has affected human society in 1,000 ways, 999 of which are shit. From normalizing hate speech to giving a platform to Jake Paul, social media started out as a way of connecting humans and instead transformed us into a bunch of politically and socially polarized actors living out pretend lives in front of our smartphones. And at the very core of all social media is the photograph. Social media has changed the way we take photos, but much more than that, it has changed the reason we take photos. We stopped taking photographs because we had something meaningful to record, a memento for ourselves or our close friends and family. Instead, we started taking photos for everyone else. The unseen online collectives passing judgment on everything you publicly share. Social media has turned us all into photographic puppets, snapping away every time the algorithm yanks our strings. And I'm here to say that enough is enough. It's high time we stopped taking photographs for an imagined online audience and took back control. Fuck the algorithm. Please yourself. I did my first computer course when I was a primary school kid way back in 1978, communicating with Hatfield Polytechnic's state-of-the-art PDP-11 mini computer. I lived and breathed computers and high technology, and it has always been a part of my personal and professional life. I wrote one of the first ever regular columns about the online world in a British magazine. I have a 6-digit ICQ number. Look it up, kids. My DeviantArt account is older than my 21-year-old son. My Hotmail address was my nickname with no numbers or letters, and I was in the closed betas for both Team Fortress 2 and World of Warcraft. And being such a battle-hardened geek, I was, of course, an early adopter of all forms of social media, from the halcyon early days of Facebook, when we were able to magically reconnect with school bullies, probation officers, and ex-partners we'd clumsily split up with, through to the nightmarish dystopian study in population control that we're currently living through. I was fully invested and on board. And right from the get-go, I, like most photographers, use social media to share my photography. Pretty quickly, I started boring people shitless with the photos on my personal Facebook feed, and so I took the hint and made a page for it. And that page started attracting people, and before I knew it, I had nearly 10,000 followers. The problem was that almost immediately, social media started changing my photography. Back in those early days, when you didn't have to pay Mark Zuckerberg for the honor of showing your content to your page's followers, I had a couple of photos go viral when they were shared by the staggeringly popular Australia.com page. Seeing thousands of glowing comments underneath your photograph is one hell of a dopamine hit, and just like that, I was a slave, not to the rhythm, but to the algorithm. Like most digitally invested photographers, I started seeking out other platforms to generously bestow my art upon an eager world. Flickr, DeviantArt, Instagram, Twitter, Vero, Upic, 500 Pics, 100 ASA, IM, SmugMug, Redbubble, 1x, Photo Shelter. You'll find my grubby fingerprints on every single one of those services, along with another 20 that no longer exist. Of course, it wasn't just the rosy glow that a much-liked image gave us photographers. We seemed to be in pursuit of some end game, at which point we'd finally have bested the algorithm and made it. What did making it mean? brand ambassador for an ND filter company, complimentary tickets for a weekend at a spa hotel in exchange for an Instagram reel, some vouchers for nutrient shakes, your own range of Lightroom filters. Nobody really knew, but we didn't care and just charged headlong over the precipice and into a future that turned out not to be fame, sponsorships, and a guest spot at a TED conference, but algorithm-controlled photography. In our defense, this was all new. The boomers hadn't been here before us. We were making fresh mistakes all of our own. Being in thrall of an algorithm was not the brave new world we'd all hoped for, and those few clever bastards who never bought into the social media circus probably laughed themselves silly watching us whore ourselves out to the nihilistic tech lords making billions off our metadata. The algorithm-driven photographic scene is, of course, alive and kicking today. In fact, it's fair to say that it's never been stronger. Despite all the prognostications about its demise, the nightmare factory that is 2023 Instagram continues to grow, and Zuckerberg's mind-bogglingly stupid leap into VR turned out to be a $10 billion steaming turd. But Facebook's numbers aren't dropping either. Every minute of every day, photographers are uploading photographs to their social media feeds, not because they think they are good or they have some artistic value, but because they think they'll get likes. They're cheered on by superstar photography influencers on this very platform, urging them to change the way their photos look to fit a narrative better suited to social media feed consumption. And this advice to completely change the way you shoot, process and present your photographs is not only seen as normal, but as something to aspire to. The algorithm has taught us to change the subjects we choose to photograph and to process those photographs such that they are popular online. Not because they look good, but because the algorithm's more likely to throw a crumb in our direction. Photographers who could be taking incredible images instead output the same photograph again and again because they've been taught that themed feeds work best. They score better with the algorithm. Scrolling through their timelines is like flicking through a Pantone swatch book. Every photo has the same color scheme, the same compositions, the same crops. It's like some Kafkaesque Groundhog Day, a disturbing slideshow of photographic facsimiles. About 6 years ago, I woke up. I had an epiphany. I swallowed the red pill. I suddenly realized, far too late many might say, that I was not a freewheeling photographer pursuing my vision, but a mouse on a wheel. In just 5 years of social media use, I'd gone from someone who experimented with and enjoyed photography to a drone in a content creating system whose sole purpose was to keep other drones sufficiently engaged to carry on scrolling. That red pill opened my eyes, and I suddenly understood how vacuous my online photographic persona was. I stopped dancing to the tune of the algorithm. I gleefully deleted most of my Instagram, and on those rare days when I do upload something there, I couldn't care less how it looks alongside the other photos in my profile. Compared to the impeccably curated but unspeakably dull profiles of the algorithmically controlled photographers, my profile looks like an overhead shot of stamps of the world, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If my photos share similarities these days, then it's purely a happy artistic coincidence, a natural evolution, not a carefully calculated maneuver. I still have a photographic style, a signature look, several of them in fact, but I'm not a slave to them. It is, once you get back into the swing of it, a gloriously liberating experience. The subtle art of not giving a fuck about the algorithm. Once you examine all of this dispassionately from the outside looking in, you realize how valueless it all is, changing our art to suit an online diaspora fed by a content-generating machine. If any of this is striking a chord with you, then I have one piece of advice. Get off that train. There's no big reward at the end of the line if you dance to the algorithm's tune. You've just been trained to think that there's some high purpose behind it all. You're a pocket of data in a mathematically rigged popularity competition with no closing date. Don't feel bad about it though. We were all caught up in this madness. No matter what age or gender or background or location, we were all seduced by the saccharine allure of fake internet points. I believe that it's time to dump the self-serving feedback loop of our pretend social media lives and the algorithm-friendly photos we share, and to change the way we look at and photograph the world. Shoot what interests you, whatever catches your eye. Relearn the ability to trust your instincts, to follow your own inner voice, and to react, not calculate. Retrain your eye. Instead of weighing up any shot using an internal calculus of potential likes, consider instead how interesting it is. You have nothing to lose but your freedom from control. If you want to see what happens when you stop giving a fuck about the valueless black hole of creativity that is algorithm-controlled photography, then take a look at the 365 project. Visit the project website, which I'll link to up there, and click on the browse link at the top of the homepage. Revel in the wonderful, glorious diversity of imagery, the miscellany of photographs. This is the total and complete antithesis of a social media feed. If you're looking to break free from the grip of algorithm-controlled photography, then consider taking part in something like the 365 project. Or just make up your own project, be your own boss again. Get up for sunrise every day for a whole month and take photographs no matter what the conditions are. Try shooting a subject or style of photography you've never tried before. If you're a landscape photographer, do some sports. If you're a street photographer, try some macros. Volunteer down at the local animal shelter and photograph the poor old furry inmates. Throw a dart at a map and go there and photograph that place. Seek out examples of urban decay and record your town or city's slow deterioration. Photograph a pretend album cover. Just do something outside the tight confines of what the feed expects of you. Lift yourself out of the comfort zone of conformity that is algorithm-controlled photography and do something that feels utterly alien to you. I can guarantee you that you will be 1,000,000 times happier with the photographs that you end up taking. You will rediscover the sheer joy of preserving in digital or cellulose form a precious nanosecond of time, an instant that will, no matter how long the universe persists, never happen again. Break free from the army of clones producing the same content day in and day out, and please your bleeding self instead. As John F. Kennedy so wisely said, conformity is the jailer of freedom and the enemy of growth. Free yourself from the anti-creative social media algorithm and rediscover your own brilliant voice. Till the next time, guys. Ta-ta.